Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, Disney yesterday on the weekend had some big announcements for Disney Cruise Lines. We also have another warning about traveling and what you absolutely need to have with you every time you step foot on a cruise. Plus, yeah, there was a collision with some injuries in dense fog. First off, let's talk about the announcements from Disney yesterday. They announced their next cruise ship. They announced the Disney Treasure. I'm not going to make jokes about how much money they're going to collect in the treasure. I'm not going to mention that. But it looks again that's going to be their 6th ship in the fleet. This one will have an Aladdin theme inside, which will be far different from most of the princess type themes on the other ships. It's going to be more along the lines of the city of Agrabah. So yeah, an Arabian themed cruise ship sounds actually kind of cool. And I would think if I'm ever going to go back on a Disney ship, that one just might be the one to intrigue me to get back on a Disney ship. So I'll think about that. But they also announced some work on the other private island that they're working on, and they showed some concept art on there showing that they're going to have dining, there's going to be swimming, there's going to be cabanas, there's going to be various activities. Of course, there's going to be shopping, but another place to go, another private island. A lot of cruise lines like the private island theme because it's a guaranteed destination that they can go to without any worry of cancellation because they own the area. It makes sense, right? Plus, all the money spent on that area goes to the cruise line. So any shopping, any shore excursions, all the activities is money in the bank or the treasure for the cruise line. So it's not just Disney who does this. Royal Caribbean has Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Every cruise line has their own private island that they go to. And the more that people see a private island that is as an actual destination. Like right now, Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Disney's private island are probably the two best private islands out there. And people actually book their cruise specifically to go to those islands. So if Disney builds another one out there, that's even more reason for people to go on a Disney cruise. So it's a smart investment. And again, the brand new ship, the Disney Treasure with an Agrabah theme, that sounds pretty cool, and I think I'd like to try that one out. Next, we have a collision in Germany on a Viking cruise ship, the river cruise ship, Viking Cavalier. I hit the pronunciation, and it gave me like 7 different pronunciations of it. But it's the Viking Cavalier was apparently in dense fog, but the first officer was driving the ship at the time, and apparently it came across the ship in the river, turned sideways like this, making a maneuver, and they collided into the ship. The crew and the passengers were thrown. It hit pretty hard. You can see some damage done. Things were thrown all over the floor in the kitchen areas and the shop area. And some passengers were treated for some minor cuts and bruises, and one crew member apparently had to be treated in the medical for minor burns and that, as he was in the kitchen preparing breakfast when this happened, and I guess was thrown off or hit the stove or oven or grease or whatever possibility. Good news is it's not major injuries to any passengers or the crew member. Apparently it's fairly minor. Could have been much worse, as collision at sea is never a good thing, especially in dense fog like it was. A lot of people think, well, river cruising, it's a small cruise. It's a smaller cruise ship than the big cruise ships, and so they're far safer and they're far less likely to have any kind of, things happen on them. But in all honesty, there are far more incidences on river cruises of collisions or accidents as far as like falling or something on the ship than there are on the ocean cruise liners out there. Now, grant you, there's a lot of little river cruise ships and they go out all the time and they're always, but yeah, I like remember the cruise ship that ran into another tour boat and ran over the tour boat and a whole bunch of passengers passed away on the tour boat. There's a lot of incidences with river cruises out there. Some of them you hear about, some of them you don't, because it's not necessarily in our purview when we're looking from North America, because it's mostly a European industry. We do have a lot of river cruises here now in North America. Viking just launched a brand new one on the Mississippi and it looks beautiful, but by far river cruising in Europe is much stronger than it is here right now in North America. But here in North America it's growing, so expect to hear a lot more about river cruises in North America because they're more luxurious, they're less intensive, much less passengers on board, and a lot of people like that idea. To be spoiled, smaller destinations, less crowded, they know your name, they know who you are, they know what you like, those kind of ships. And so, yeah, good news again, though, on the Viking ship, no real safety things, no real injuries as far as life-threatening injuries. That's the best news of anything that could have happened from that. No news on if the Viking is going to have to cancel its next couple of cruises for repairs. We'll have to see. It looks like a lot of superficial damage to the top deck on the front of the ship, but that's right where passengers go and dine and get together. So it could be interesting to see what happens to that in the next few days. Okay, speaking of injuries and all that, I have a warning to tell you. I have some warnings to tell you, but before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button quickly if I haven't done so already or you haven't done so already. Really does help the channel out. It just tells YouTube, hey, people like watching cruising videos. They want to keep up to date with cruising. They want to see the tips. They want to see the tricks. They want to just discuss cruising. And so they share it to more people. More people get a chance to say, oh yeah, hey, look, there's some stuff on cruising. Let's click the video and take a look. That's all it does. It really helps the channel out that way. And again, thank you to everybody who's hit the subscribe button. And thank you to everybody about to do so. It really helps. And I do appreciate it so much. I really do. Okay, here's my warning. If you saw my friend Tony's video yesterday, he talked about a woman who was stranded in Jamaica and she had pneumonia, had to be taken off the ship for medical care, and now if she wants to get back to the US or Canada, wherever she's from, I think she's from the US, it would cost her $40,000 to fly back because she has to be flown back medically in a medical plane, like a private medical evacuation plane. So it's not just hop on a plane and fly home. I see almost every day stories of people being helicoptered or rescued by Coast Guard and medevaced off ships. There's a story here, there's a story there, there's another story, there's another story that just keep popping up. And every time I see these stories, the first thought in my mind is, I hope those people have travel insurance with medical evacuation included. Now, it's very easy to go online and say travel insurance, and you see, oh, I can get it for $27 for the week, and you click on it, and then you go, great, I'm covered now. No, you're not. Not necessarily, because it might not have medical evacuation insurance. It might only insure you for $10,000 for rest and give you your luggage returned, $500 for that. It doesn't necessarily cover everything. So when you're looking at your insurance, first off, if you're unsure about insurance, period, and here's the thing, travel agents aren't really allowed to recommend or tell you about insurance. They can get you in touch with insurance, but they can't really discuss insurance because they're not the experts. They don't really sell insurance, and they can get in trouble for saying, you should use this one because it covers everything. And then if it doesn't, they can be sued So that's why travel agents and that don't like to discuss insurance other than to say, have insurance. So that's one thing. But when you go and book your insurance, don't look for the cheapest price. Look for the best coverage, especially if you're leaving the country, anywhere. And the longer you go, the better coverage you want. And it's not just COVID anymore. You know, myself, I had COVID. If I would have had to pay for a hotel in Amsterdam for 5 days and then rebook my airfare home, I would have been out thousands, but it wouldn't have bankrupted me. $40,000 might bankrupt me in some cases, right? You could end up not, I don't have 40,000, and that's just that incident. There's cases where I've seen it would cost people who were put into hospitals over $150,000. It's best to have the insurance. Don't look for the cheapest insurance you can get. Look for the coverage you need. If you know, full coverage, medical evacuation, $50,000 to $100,000 in, you know, medical stays, whatever it is, because it's not worth saving $200 on your whole cruise vacation and ending up owing $100,000 to $200,000 because you didn't want to spend $200. It's not worth it. And I just got, you know, thankfully, I just got a message from friends and clients who were on a ship and they had a medical incident, and they thanked me, said, thank you for making sure we had insurance, because now we're getting all that money back. And I'm going, yeah, that's exactly why I put it in there. That's why I will book every cruise I do with travel insurance, unless the client says, no, I don't want it. And I always say, why? And they will usually tell me, well, I have year-long insurance. I have my own travel insurance with this company I like to use. Great. It gives me the willies when I hear people say, I don't need it. You know, nothing's ever happened. Nothing's ever happened until something happens. It's not really worth the cost. And by the way, $200 is often at the high end of an insurance policy. So I just booked my next cruise. It's a 7-day out of New York. My entire insurance is $110 with $200,000 of coverage, including medical evacuation and COVID, and that's Canadian dollars. So yeah, it's not that expensive for the peace of mind and the security if something happens. There, that's enough warning about that stuff, because I say it all the time. And that's the number one tip for going on a cruise. Have insurance. Number one tip. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.